Hi friends, today I'm going to tell you about a 2017 movie called 12 Feet Deep. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like it. Enjoy watching it. At the community pool, McGrady's manager puts up a notice saying that they will be closed for the holiday weekend. Meanwhile, the main character Bree, while swimming in the pool, takes a break to check her blood glucose levels and takes off her diamond ring before returning to the pool. Outside in the parking lot, her sister Jonna sits in her car, unsure whether or not to enter the pool. After a brief hesitation, she leaves her phone in the glove compartment and enters the building, puts on her bathing suit and approaches her sister. Bree is happy to see her because they haven't seen each other in a while. Jonna has been in rehab but has been feeling good for 3 months. After a short conversation, Jonna joins Bree in the pool. In the lost and found department, cleaning lady Clara tries to steal some money from forgotten purses. At this time, McGrady walks in and catches her in the act. And he says he's sorry for speaking well of her in the parole officer's report, and also says that when she finishes her job today, she's free and doesn't work here anymore. Swimming together, the sisters have a good day, until McGrady comes in and says it's time for them to leave, as they are already closing. The pool is open until 7. But McGrady explains that they are closing for the holiday weekend early and mentions that some people should learn to read, to which Jonna takes offense. As they get out of the pool and wipe themselves off, Bree decides to show Jonna her ring, but can't find it in her bag. Jonna looks around the pool and sees the ring stuck in the metal bars at the bottom of the pool. So Bree dives back in to retrieve it. No matter how hard she tries, there is no way she can get the ring out of the bars. So Jonna also decides to jump in to help her. Since both girls are underwater, the other visitors have left. McGrady, thinking there is no one left in the building, begins the process of closing the pool. Suddenly, Jonna's hair gets sucked into the bars, trying to free herself. The girls don't notice as the cover over the pool closes. After untangling their hair, they try to surface, but it's too late, they are now trapped. Terrified, the sisters start banging on the cover and calling for help. But McGrady has already left the building and Jonna thinks he did it on purpose. After a moment of excitement, they decide to try to lift the lid just to see how strong it is, but of course it won't budge. Next, Bree suggests checking all the joints to find a weak spot. Looking around, Jonna finds someone's melts and condensation holes in the cover, and Bree manages to remove the plastic cover from one of the holes in the building to finish her shift. Bree and Jonna take turns trying to saw a hole in the cover. Jonna notices the burn marks on Bree's arm and says they never discussed it, but they should. Because she was advised by her doctor in rehab, she wants to know what really happened the day their father died, since she remembers nothing and only knows the scraps her mother and Bree have told her over the years. Bree calls her father a monster and tells Jonna that he came home that night drunk and smoking a cigarette. Passed out and fell on his pillow and caught fire, but he didn't scream because he was so drunk he didn't even notice he was burning alive. Bree got burns on her arm when she tried to wake him up. Their conversation is suddenly interrupted when Clara enters the room. She hears Bree's phone start ringing again and comes closer to steal it. The girls call for help and Clara asks them how they got there. At the same time, she goes through Bree's purse, but stops when she notices the security cameras. After telling the girls to wait a bit, she goes to the control room to disable the cameras, then walks over to the pool and asks the sisters some strange questions. She then asks for her phone password. Bree gives it to her thinking she will call the police, but instead Clara teases her about the pictures and turns on David's voice messages to them. Jonna loses her patience and begins to insult her. Cutting to the chase, Clara explains that she has a lot of bills to pay since she can't get a good job after her incarceration. If the sisters want her to get them, Bree has to give her the PIN code for her bank card. The sisters disagree at first, but Clara turns off the heater and threatens them with a cold night, so Bree has no choice but to give what she wants. Clara leaves with her purse, and the sisters snuggle up to each other to keep warm. Bree begins to really suffer from the cold, so Jonna decides it's her turn to try to rip off the drain cover, but fear prevents her from even going near it. As she reaches the surface, she notices that Bree is asleep and hurries to wake her up. She admits that she didn't even swim up to the plum because she chickened out and calls herself useless. Jonna then tries again to make a hole in the lid with a shard, but Bree thinks it is a waste of time and energy. But Jonna replies that she needs to move. It's the only way to get warm. Bree pushes her to tell her about the suicide attempt, and Jonna explains that she feels as if there are monsters living inside her that are eating her. Her father abused them and his voice never left Jonna's mind. Suddenly, an eye appears in the opening of the cover and frightens the sisters. It is Clara, complaining that Bree only has $80 in her bank account. The sisters ask her for help and she gets angry, saying that they are not special and she has problems too. Saying that she will leave them there to die and leaves the room to gather her thoughts. Then Jonna has an idea and starts sharpening a plastic shard against the wall. When Clara returns, Jonna pretends to cry, apologizes and wants to confess something. She deliberately speaks very quietly, so Clara puts her ear to the hole so she can hear it better and Jonna pokes her with the shard. Enraged, Clara goes to the mirror to check her wound, then goes to the control room to turn on the automatic pool cleaning system. As a result, the girls start choking on Bree begins to really suffer from the cold, so Jonna decides it's her turn to try to rip off the drain cover, but fear prevents her from even going near it. As she reaches the surface, she notices that Bree is asleep and hurries to wake her up. She admits that she didn't even swim up to the plum because she chickened out and calls herself useless. Jonna then tries again to make a hole in the lid with a shard, but Bree thinks it is a waste of time and energy. But Jonna replies that she needs to move. It's the only way to get warm. Bree pushes her to tell her about the suicide attempt and Jonna explains that she feels as if there are monsters living inside her that are eating her. Her father abused them and his voice never left Jonna's mind. Suddenly, an eye appears in the opening of the cover and frightens the sisters. It is Clara, complaining that Bree only has $80 in her bank account. The sisters ask her for help and she gets angry, saying that they are not special and she has problems too. Saying that she will leave them there to die and leaves the room to gather her thoughts. Then Jonna has an idea and starts sharpening a plastic shard against the wall. When Clara returns, Jonna pretends to cry, apologizes and wants to confess something. She deliberately speaks very quietly, so Clara puts her ear to the hole so she can hear it better and Jonna pokes her with the shard. Enraged, Clara goes to the mirror to check her wound, then goes to the control room to turn on the automatic pool cleaning system. As a result, the girls start choking on and Bree becomes very weak. Jonna dives in and tries again to tear off the bars. Her first two attempts were unsuccessful, but she gets an idea for a third. She grabs the swim trunks they found earlier and wraps them around the bars of the bars and she manages to get it out. Jonna lifts her to the surface and notices that Bree is unconscious. After giving her CPR, she hits the bars on the cover and finally manages to break it. Getting Bree out of the pool, they both get cuts from the sharp edges of the fiberglass. Her sister is still unconscious. So Jonna fetches her bag and looks for an insulin syringe. She gives Bree the shot and she finally wakes up. Their happiness does not last long, however, because Clara suddenly appears in front of them and points her gun at them with the intention of killing them because she is afraid that the girls might tell the cops about her. Jonna tells her that she realizes she has lost a lot and begs her not to do anything because Bree is all she has left in her life. Eventually Clara puts the gun away and returns the ring. Jonna grabs Bree's phone and calls the police and tells Clara to leave before they arrive. After which, Bree wakes up on a stretcher, surrounded by paramedics and her sister. Jonna gives her the ring back and when Bree asks how she got it back, Jonna replies that they killed the monster. The sisters hug and the medics take them away. This is where the movie ends. If you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe and like it. Thank you.